Eduardo has had many issues with women in his life, mostly because he's been reared by his auntie, who was very authoritarian and never gave him really much praise. And she expects an awful lot of him. So Tanti Beatrice is in hospital at the moment, and Eduardo is running around after her. I would advise that your aunt not be left alone for the first few days of her recuperation. We'll be discharging her tomorrow. She'll make a full recovery. Nevertheless, the bronchitis and pneumonia have weakened her, and I would recommend plenty of rest and good nourishment. The consultant gave a polite smile, held out his hand for a brief handshake, and was gone, striding down the hospital corridor next to his patient, hardly waiting to hear Eduardo's clipped word of thanks. Frowning, Eduardo dialed his wife's number. Tia Beatrice's forthcoming discharge was most inconvenient. He planned to take the train to Malaga later on with his cousin, to be in attendance at tomorrow's inaugural meeting of the residents of La Joya, to form their new management committee. Eduardo was most anxious to put his name forward for the post of El Presidente, or failing in his bid for that post, the secretary's position would be advantageous. He would know everything that was going on. Standards needed to be raised, a firm hand on the tiller was necessary, and he wanted a role on the new committee. He was not content to be on the sidelines like so many of the residents, taking no part in the running of the community. See, Eduardo? Consuela, his wife's voice in his ear, brought him back to reality. Beatrice is being discharged tomorrow. She's not to be left alone for the next few days, which of course means we'll have to have her stay with us, he said glumly. Very well, I'll freshen up the guest room and make sure the electric blanket is switched on when you bring her home, his wife said calmly. I don't suppose Eduardo felt uncharacteristically hesitant. Would you collect her and bring her home, Consuela? You know that I planned to go to that meeting down in La Joya with Gabrielle. You know Beatrice won't be happy with that, Consuela interrupted him. She'd get in a huff and say she was being a nuisance to me and she was putting me out and insist on going home in a taxi. But that's ridiculous. Eduardo couldn't hide his exasperation. I know, but you know what she's like. I'm sorry, you'll have to either postpone her discharge or cancel the trip. But it's a very important meeting, Consuela. I want to be on that management committee. You could get Gabrielle to propose you and vote for you as well. Proxies are allowed, his wife pointed out irritatingly, unaware of how crucial the meeting was to him. Consuela, I feel as though you don't realise just how... To his immense chagrin, his wife interrupted him yet again. I have to go, Eduardo. It's time for a class. Adios. Like his aunt's consultant, Consuela didn't bother waiting for his farewells either. Eduardo fumed, slipping his phone into his pocket. His wife had recently started giving cookery and knitting classes at a centre for disadvantaged mothers and was rarely at home in the mornings now. Since their disastrous holiday the previous summer, Consuelo seemed like another person. I'm doing what I want for a change, she said coldly, when she told him on the return to Madrid that she was going to do charity work. At least she was home in the evenings to get his meal. Eduardo supposed he should be thankful for small mercies. But she was no longer as soft and compliant as she used to be, and was very much more argumentative. That bloody menopausia was a curse on men, and him in particular.